Hey all, welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day, welcome to November. However, this is the result of a poll that was done during Halloween week. So this is probably one of the creepiest lists of the year because this is going to be the top 10 most ominous, menacing Transformers characters' names. And that'll be our focus. Those results from the fan vote will be our focus in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey, what hell, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you are at it, light them up, baby. Hit the notification bell, please. Helps me out a ton, let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this one was meant to coincide with Halloween, really, which of course happened on the weekend. I know that this is Monday. I get that a lot of people are now going to be like, Halloween, that was done on Friday. We're moving on to Thanksgiving and Christmas now. At least Thanksgiving if you live in the US. Rest of us probably moving out toward Christmas. But we got one little kick at the can left, so to speak, by way of the top 10 most ominous Transformers characters' names. Some of these votes I absolutely do not understand. Some of these I think really hit the mark. We only have one honorable mention, and that is Deathsaurus, mostly because death is in his name, and Saurus, which indicates he's like a death dinosaur. And that's pretty terrifying when you stop and think about it. I understand that it's Desaurus. I understand that, you know, he's a kaiju and not an actual dinosaur and stuff. But at the end of the day, the Anglicism of it is Deathsaurus. And you know what? It's a pretty intimidating name for the leader of the Decepticons. He's the only honorable mention. He did not make the list. Who did? What did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do as we always do. We're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Kicking us off at number 10, we have this. Sinner Twin. And yeah, what else is there to say? Sin is in his name. And it's times two because it's a twin. And then when you look at the actual character, it's like this two-headed dragon reptile thing. Imagine how much more terrifying it would be with wings. So the character's alt mode, being monstrous, is already scary enough. And then when you throw on the name of Sinner Twin with it, then man, it gets absolutely terrifying. And it takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we have another very descriptive one with this. It's Skull Cruncher. Or, if you prefer the Skull Smasher name, that too. I mean, if you're crunching or smashing skulls, that's a pretty ominous, menacing, scary name. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have to tangle with somebody named Skull Cruncher, especially when they turn into a huge alligator. And we all know how strong those alligator jaws are. Or maybe it's a crocodile. I don't know which one he's actually supposed to be. I always figured alligator, but maybe he's a crocodile. Either way, those big jaws are going to be able to clamp down and crush some skulls. And hence, Skull Crusher is one of the most ominous, menacing names in all of Transformers, and it takes the number 9 slot. Number 8 evokes power because it's this. Overlord. And it's so funny because Overlord technically is not really a leader of the Decepticons. It's like a second in command of the second Decepticons next to Devil Z. However, it is the character of Overlord that is the biggest kind of physical embodiment threat and the one that tends to be the cruel leadership role of the Decepticons. Even if you want to fast forward from G1 all the way to Titan's Return, the iteration for all the problems that Titan's Return had, by the way, like all the problems that the Machinima series had, one of the things that they did get right was the character of Overlord. Not that they nailed the G1 version, but they made sure that he was one big, bad, menacing, nasty, terrifying dude. And you knew when he lumbered onto the battlefield that power and destruction were not far behind. In fact, I love the character and the name so much that he has become a central driving force thus far within my own series, Universal Collision. Overlord takes the number 8 slot. Number 7 is this. It's a combiner and it's Menacing because everybody that voted for Menacing said the same thing. Menacing with a question mark, Menacing. Yeah, I get it. Menace is right there in the name. Much like some of the others, you can look directly at the name and understand why it's ominous or scary or menacing. Yeah, Menacing. What else is there to say? It's in the dude's name. He's there to menace and be a nuisance and a pain and a threat. And he takes the number 7 slot. Speaking of number 6, we're going to stick with combiners and this. It's Abominus. And those that voted for Abominus said, look, he is a mishmash combiner who's basically a brainless berserker and full of vicious, claws and teeth because he's made up of all of these monstrous creatures. Not even animals, just monstrous creatures. And it's such a hodgepodge amalgamation that at the end of the day, more than a combiner, more than a Decepticon, he is a lumbering abomination. And that's where Abominus gets his name from. How much more ominous can it be to be known as an abomination? How much more ominous can it be to have the name Abominus? There's a tongue twister for you. It's Abominus who takes the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever coveted, ever popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark we have another combiner with this guy. Devastator. And those that voted for him said, look, devastate is in his name. To destroy, to be a threat, to be destruction, walking out in front of you. And then to be made up of all of these construction vehicles that are supposed to build things. The irony behind that. And not only that, but he was the first combiner. A lot of people say he's the most destructive combiner. And a lot of people say he's the most threatening combiner. And with a name like Devastator, well, would you want to have to face him? Devastator takes the number 5 slot. And number 4 gets away from combiners and brings us down to a 1 character, but it's still a character from a combiner with this. It's Bone Crusher. And again, people said, look, the name alone, Bone Crusher. He's going to crush bones. There's a heavy metal song called Skull Crusher, I think. But I always think of it when I think of Bone Crusher and Skull Cruncher for that matter. So again, this is just one of those names that even if the character doesn't necessarily come across as intimidating, the name does. When you hear Bone Crusher, you feel like, man, I don't want to meet him in a dark alley because he's going to crush my bones. And he'd probably love doing it. Bone Crusher takes the number 4 slot. Top 3. We are into the top 3. And at number 3 is the most baffling, confusing one on this list because it's this guy, Erector. I don't know why Erector is considered ominous or menacing. I'm assuming that people thought that they were being funny with this vote, but what they don't realize is that it all counts as a legitimate vote. I really wish people would read the whole post and understand just how much my personal time this really takes. Stuff that's a joke or the multiple answers, stuff all you're doing is being rude and making a very timely process be a lot harder on me and my family. It's really unappreciated. So I don't really get this. I don't know why he's here, but Erector took the number 3 slot. 2 and 1, I think, are far more serious votes because 2 is this. Bludgeon. Not only is it an ominous, menacing name for a character whose face is a skull, no less, but it also describes a way to destroy your opponent. You can bludgeon them. In fact, you can bludgeon them to death. It's threatening. There's no doubt about it. It's ominous. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, bludgeon takes the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy top number 1. The number 1 most ominous and menacing name in all of Transformers is this Megatron. And again, he's the leader. The name does sound very powerful. So you put Mega in front of something, it sounds powerful. You know what I mean? Mega Zarek. Mega Octane, Megatron, and again, as soon as you think of Megatron, immediately your mind is probably going to go to his gigantic fusion cannon, which in and of itself is threatening and a menace. But let's say you associate with some other iteration of Megatron. It might go to his huge Armada tank mode and his combined up mode with Tidal Wave, for example, making him an even bigger threat. Or maybe you go to RID and that version of Megatron where he turns into ever so many creatures. There's a lot of iterations of Megatron with a lot of different alt modes, and all of them signify a skilled combatant that leads a terrifying army. It's hard to argue with that sort of justification, for when you hear the name Megatron, you immediately think menace. You immediately think ominous. You immediately think terrifying. Yeah, Megatron takes the #1 slot. And that's it, man. We've got from 10 down to 1 once again. Others that had votes, and some of these are going to be wild, so, you know, bear with me a little bit here. Let's see, what do we have here? Blot, Blood, which I get, Bruticus, Death's Head, which I thought was an interesting one. I allowed it because he does have a role within Transformers. Who else do we have here? Hellbat, that makes sense. Stalker, Ruination, Sparkstalker, Thrust, Clench, Hot Rod. I found that a weird one. Wheelie? That seems like a weird one. Cliff Jumper, which if you stop and think about it, I guess so. Spinister, Dead End, Repugnus, Shockwave, Unicron, who I actually thought was going to make the list. Gigastorm, I thought that was an interesting one too. Ominous, since it's the Titan Master of Sky Shadow, I think. Predaking, Scourge, both the G1 and specifically the RID. The Fallen, Grimlock, Grim is in his name. Physitron, Badassatron had some. Lube, I'm not really sure why Lube would be ominous or ominous or menacing. Sunder, who I assume is the IDW character that I know nothing about, but people seem scared of the guy. Thunderwing. Inferno, even though in G1 it's an Autobot, I thought that Inferno was a good pick, even though I suppose the Fire Ant, he's a pretty terrifying dude. Onslaught, Grotusk, Monstructor, Overkill, Big Daddy, I'm surprised Big Daddy was on there. Cutthroat, Dirge makes sense. Lord Domatron or Doomatron, Tarn, Impactor, Skullgrin, Flatline, Violent Jiger, there's a good one for you. Jazz? I don't know why Jazz would be on there, but them and even more made the list. It was a very interesting round of voting this time. Anyway, let me know if your favorite names made the list or not. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you are at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around and have some fun with us here on the channel. And don't forget, man, not for a moment, not for a second, that you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.